The quiet suburbs, the familiar streets, places where we expect safety and normalcy, but sometimes darkness can fester beneath the surface, hidden in plain sight. This is the story of Jason Thornburg, a man who appeared ordinary, yet harbored horrifying secrets that would shock a community and leave a trail of unanswered questions. Viewer discretion is advised, as this episode contains graphic content that may be unsettling. In September 2021, firefighters in Fort Worth, Texas, responded to a dumpster fire. What they discovered would unravel a horrifying tale of ritualistic murders, dismemberment, and cannibalism. The man behind these atrocities was 44-year-old Jason Allen Thornburg, a resident of Euless, Texas. Jason Thornburg was born on August 27, 1980. He lived in various states, including Texas and Arizona, and identified as Native American. While not much is publicly known about his early life, it's clear that he harbored disturbing thoughts and a fascination with death and religious extremism. Jason Allen Thornburg was 41 years old at the time of his arrest. By most accounts, his life before 2021 seemed relatively unremarkable. Details about his early life are scarce, but reports suggest he had a somewhat transient lifestyle. He had lived in various locations and held different jobs. Neighbors and acquaintances who later spoke to the media often described him as quiet and unassuming, someone who largely kept to himself. However, the contrast between his outward appearance and his confessed actions is a crucial element in understanding the shockwaves this case sent through the community. We will now turn to the events that brought Jason Thornburg's dark secret to light. In September 2021, authorities in Fort Worth responded to a series of suspicious fires. The incidents, occurring within a short time frame, raised concerns and prompted an investigation. It was during the investigation into these fires that the name Jason Thornburg first emerged. On September 21, 2021, police were led to a shed behind Thornburg's residence in the 3100 block of Lockney Avenue. What they discovered inside was beyond comprehension. The dismembered remains of a man later identified as 61-year-old Mark Jewell were found. The condition of the remains indicated a brutal and disturbing act. This discovery immediately shifted the focus of the investigation from arson to homicide, and Jason Thornburg became the prime suspect. Following the grim discovery, Thornburg was taken into custody. During questioning by detectives, he not only confessed to the murder of Mark Jewell, but also made startling admissions about the deaths of 3 other individuals in the years prior. Thornburg's descent into violence began long before his 2021 arrest. In 2017, he confessed to killing his girlfriend, Tanya Begay, a Navajo woman from Arizona. According to his confession, he strangled her during a trip and left her body in the desert. Her remains were never recovered. The case remained a cold one until Thornburg admitted to the killing years later. Another significant event occurred in May 2021, when Thornburg's roommate, Mark Jewell, died in a house explosion in Fort Worth. At the time, the explosion was treated as accidental, but Thornburg later admitted to murdering Jewell and setting off the explosion to destroy evidence. Then came the murders that would expose him to the world. In September 2021, Thornburg committed 3 horrific killings within a week. He lured 3 individuals to his room at the Mid-City Inn in Euless, Texas. His victims were David Lueras, 42, Lauren Phillips, 34, Maricruz Mathis, 33. Thornburg claimed he had been called by a higher power to carry out these killings. He believed they were required sacrifices rooted in his twisted interpretation of biblical prophecy. Once inside the motel room, each victim was killed and their bodies were dismembered in the bathtub. He then stored the remains in plastic containers under his bed for several days. After that, he transported them to a dumpster in Fort Worth, set them on fire, and fled the scene. Firefighters who arrived to put out the flames found the dismembered remains. What initially seemed like a dumpster fire quickly became a major homicide investigation. Investigators reviewed surveillance footage from the area, which showed a Jeep Grand Cherokee parked near the dumpster around the time of the fire. This led police to Jason Thornburg, who drove a similar vehicle. When they brought him in for questioning, he confessed without hesitation. He reportedly told investigators that he believed he was being called to commit these acts, suggesting a distorted and potentially delusional worldview. Details about the specific nature of these alleged rituals are scarce in public reports. He described how he methodically killed each person, dismembered their bodies, and kept their remains under his bed before setting them ablaze. He even admitted to cannibalizing parts of one victim. In total, Thornburg confessed to 5 murders. 1. Tanya B. Gay in Arizona, 2017. 2. Mark Jewell, his roommate, 2021. 3. David Lueras, 2021. 4. Lauren Phillips, 2021. 5. Maricruz Mathis, 2021. Thornburg was charged with capital murder for the triple killing in September 2021. At trial, his defense attorneys argued that he was suffering from a severe mental illness, suggesting he was legally insane at the time of the murders. However, the jury did not accept this argument. In December 2024, Jason Thornburg was found guilty and sentenced to death. This marked the first death penalty verdict in Tarrant County, Texas since 2019. Prosecutors portrayed Thornburg as a cold, methodical killer who manipulated religious beliefs to justify monstrous actions. The sentencing brought some closure to the families of the victims who had endured years of pain, questions, and public scrutiny. They described their loved ones as people who struggled, but were still human beings deserving of life, not victims of a grotesque ritual. This case serves as a grim reminder of the dangers posed by untreated mental illness, religious extremism, and social isolation. Thornburg's actions shocked even seasoned investigators, not just because of the brutality, but because of how calmly he explained his crimes. Understanding the why behind such horrific acts is a complex and often impossible task. Was Thornburg suffering from severe mental illness? Did he genuinely believe he was carrying out some kind of twisted divine mission? These are questions that may never be fully answered. Psychological evaluations, if conducted and released, might offer some insights. But ultimately, the motivations of a killer like Thornburg can be deeply personal and inaccessible to the outside world. If you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, please reach out to a professional. Many of these tragedies can be prevented with the right intervention, care, and community support. Thank you for joining us as we covered this deeply disturbing case. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe. Stay safe out there and always look out for one another.